Hello, everyone. Bill Molyneux here, and I'm at the Endless Mountain War Memorial Museum. Mr. Jack operates this museum, and oh my gosh, it's Goober the Traveling Bear. And we've been invited to have a full tour. Mr. Jack is going to take us around, and I'll introduce you to him in a few minutes. And this site is one of those hidden gems that Kevin talks about all the time. Well, we are with Mr. Jack, and he runs this museum. And Jack, thank you for allowing Goober and I to come, and we're ready to take the tour.
It's a pleasure. Glad to show you around.
All right. Well, we're going in, everyone. Holy cow. Well, I have Mr. Jack here, and if you want to go ahead of me, I guess, and point to what we're looking at, or I'm going to let you give me the tour that you give.
Okay, great. Yeah. We have a little bit of pre-World War I here, turn of the century, Pennsylvania National Guard stuff. This is a cavalry soldier from World War One. This is a Marine from World War One.
Wow. Now, what's this sack in front of him, sir?
That's his gas mask. That's what they wore them right on the front, so they're easy to get to when gas attacks would come.
Wow, your museum is just, I got to hit a little bit of the walls here. Okay, and oh my gosh, Goober the Traveling Bear is inside now. Well, so here, is this a World War One display case?
Yes, well, it's, the stuff in it is all mostly World War One bayonets, and we have a Colt 45 caliber revolver there. Some trench art down here, things made out of shells. We have a stereoscope here, which I tell the kids this was their TV back then. So it gives you a stereo image of, and there's the little things that come here with descriptions on the back.
Okay. Well, everyone, I just had to stop the camera and talk to Jack. This museum has so much in it. I could be in here for hours. We are just going to hit the highlights, and then it's up to you to come and visit him someday. So, Jack, continue taking me along your path.
Yeah, this is a nurse's uniform, a nurse's cape, and there's actually things in this case that the nurses would have, like a bandage roller, a nurse's kit that she carried with her.
And this is World War One, correct?
All World War One, yeah. Now, this is British and Canadian stuff, and we have stuff from that era from them also, because they were our allies.
Is that a Webley revolver?
It's a Webley revolver, yes it was. Yep. Now, this is an officer's uniform.
Wonderful. Now, is this an American officer's uniform?
American officer's uniform, yeah. Lieutenant David Merrill, I even have his name. A lot of these things in the museum are personalized. They come from the area, and people have donated them. And
wow, there's just so much in here.
yeah, this is like a bunker right here that they would have with a water-cooled machine gun. Of course, he's got a gas mask on.
Now, is that a Vickers?
No, it's actually it's a form of the. I can't think of
Is it the Maxim?
Maxim, exactly.
All right.
Yes. And this is a German Maxim here, but I think this one was actually a Russian Maxim. But it looks a little bit like the Vickers.
Well, I know that Park Ranger Robert Ambrose would just be amazed at this museum. And Robert, just so you know, I'm thinking of you. There's a Mauser broom handle machine pistol in the display case.
Yeah, there's a 45 1911. Of course, they were blued in World War One. This is a Smith & Wesson revolver, just like the Colt.
Wow.
There's a lot of panoramic photos of the Pennsylvania National Guard. Most of these are 28th Division, which is the Pennsylvania National Guard.
So this is a German machine gun here?
Yes, it is. It was nicknamed the Devil's Paintbrush. That was the nickname they gave to it. It was pretty...
it looks
pretty
heavy.
yeah, I'm sure, yeah. Took a couple guys, I'm sure, to carry that. And here we have a trench shotgun. It's a Model 97 Winchester, and the Springfield, which most of the soldiers had, besides the 1917 Enfield that they also had.
Wow. All right. All right, we're back, everyone.
Okay, this is a German gas mask. And right on top is a German helmet that apparently a piece of shrapnel went in here, entered here, and came out over there. So that guy probably had a bad day. And this is all German things that were brought back as souvenirs. We have the parade helmet, another German camouflage helmet, and this is one of the spiked helmets, which you see a lot of those around also.
Now, what are these little thingies sticking out of this helmet for?
Those were made for a shield that actually fits over the front of the helmet, and a lot of these were discarded, and you can't even find one anymore. I'd love to have one just to show people what they were for, but I don't have one yet.
Okay. And then on this display case,
yeah, this is Navy from World War One, and actually a little bit before. Some of it's turn of the century, but up to World War One. We have some World War One uniforms up above, and some aviation stuff here. Of course, it was the air service during World War One.
okay. Wow, and I know the Golden Age Air Museum's not too far from here, over in Allentown area. So,
Okay.
now there are different directions. Which way are we going, Mr.
We'll be
Jack?
going into here this way.
All
Into
right.
World War II,
And
we'll-
when you visit here, there are things all over. It's just amazing. All right, we're going to pause here and enter the World War II room, right?
Yep.
So we're entering World War II world.
Okay, here is a D-Day soldier with a BAR. This was a life belt that was used during D-Day.
Now, Jack, I have discovered I have viewers sometimes they'll stumble on my channel. What is a BAR?
Browning automatic rifle. It was a 30-06 caliber. It was a sustained fire machine gun, and each company would have a BAR guy. And of course, he puts a target on his back when he's carrying that because he's the first one that the Germans want to take out. You know.
Okay.
And this is a Marine from World War II. Of course, the camouflage uniform. And this is a reversible camouflage. It's green on the inside, and this is like a desert pattern, like on the islands. On the desert islands, they were blended in with the backgrounds and things.
Holy cow.
Some artillery pieces down here, different calibers and different millimeters. And this is Coast Guard, Seabees, and U.S. Navy.
Okay. So, the fighting Seabees, just like in the John Wayne movie.
Yes, yeah, they had a big job to do, especially on the islands, you know, building the runways and stuff for the aircraft.
Okay. Boy, you have this. I don't think you could get much more in this building.
No, actually, we just finished our other building, but we don't have anything in it yet. We're still putting it together.
So, is this a chaplain?
A chaplain's a communion set? Yep.
Wow.
And of course, they had their services on the front of a Jeep a lot of times.
Okay. Yeah, I saw that in a couple documentaries. Which way do you want me to point the camera? There's so much to
Come
see.
this way. This is Marine Corps from World War II. This guy here was wounded on Iwo Jima. Over here we have a Japanese flag that he brought back from Iwo Jima. It has blowholes through it. And what a piece of history. I mean,
Wow.
you can tell by the looks of it, it's been through quite an ordeal. And this guy flew in the TBM torpedo bomber. And this is a radio from out of the TBM and a machine gun, a 30 caliber machine gun, which they had down in the tail. And that's what
And the TBM is a torpedo plane?
torpedo bomber.
Is that what President Bush flew?
Exactly. That was the plane that he flew in, and yep, that's right. In the Battle of Midway, I mean, the whole squadron was shot down, and there was only one guy survived.
Yeah, they're not quite equipped to defeat a Zero.
No, not really.
So what do we have here, sir?
This is a tanker's uniform, the tanker's helmet, and the jacket, and there's bib overalls they wore.
Very nice. And it looks like he's equipped with a Tommy gun, maybe?
Yeah, the Tommy gun. Yep.
All right. That's
10th Mountain Division or 10th Armor Division.
very nice.
Now, this is a grouping in here in the top. This guy was killed in October of '44 in France, and he's one out of 8 brothers that was served actually. And this is a Western Union telegram that they sent to his mother and informed her he was killed, and his Purple Heart, which was sent home to the family at the time. But it's amazing to see that eight brothers actually served, in a war.
Yeah, 8 brothers. And we have another machine gun up
That's
here,
a 30 caliber Browning.
and there's our flag. And
More Marine Corps stuff here. in this case, with an M1 Garand also in there. These are grenades, different types of grenades, rifle grenades, smoke grenades, regular hand grenades, fragmentation grenades.
All right, boy, there's so much here. Well, I see you have Vic Morrow, Sergeant Saunders, and he always carried a Tommy gun. I see you have one right here next to him.
Yeah, that's
And
awesome. And these are bayonets for the M1 Garand, and actually some 45 1911 A1s down there.
amazing.
These are the two-buckle combat boots and the cap-toed boots that the paratroopers used.
Okay, so these are the paratrooper boots, like on what they would have wore at D-Day.
Yeah. This one with the cap toes, but these are like the infantry soldiers.
Okay.
Boots here, the two-buckle combat boots they call them. And this is all stuff from the airborne, from here down along the wall here to the end. There's a lot of memorabilia in here.
There's and so that's that carbine, right?
Yeah, that's the paratrooper folding stock carbine that they use.
Wow.
A lot of other memorabilia. There's personal memorabilia in here from a colonel. He brought back a lot of souvenirs and stuff, and we have a lot of those throughout the museum also.
Amazing. Just now, my one brother has one of these. My Uncle Richard,
Yeah,
he
the
drove a
Zuccarello.
tank in World War II, a Stuart,
Uh-huh.
and he brought one of those back.
Oh, yeah, wow.
Now, what's this giant bullet here for?
Actually, this is a magazine for a boy's anti-tank gun. But it's 20 millimeter. I tell the kids this is my squirrel for my squirrel gun. But yeah, it's quite a piece of machinery. I wish I had the gun, but I don't have that. Just have the magazine.
So is this our paratrooper
The
here?
paratrooper, yeah, with all the stuff that they had to carry with them.
Now, how much would all that weigh? I mean, he is really loaded down.
Probably 80 pounds, with all that stuff and their parachute. And they had to take everything with them, though, because they jumped behind the lines and they weren't resupplied like most of the ground soldiers.
So they had to have that extra ammunition and,
Yep,
and
exactly.
food and all.
Yep, they had to take everything with them that they needed.
Which way are we going? This way?
I don't even want to go back around here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, how'd you get a car back in here?
Actually, there's a garage door behind here. It's kind of hard to find.
I guess, tell me about your car.
Okay, yeah, that's the Nash. It's a staff car. It was donated to us. We have MacArthur in the back seat. If you walk there, you can check him out. But this was back when they made real cars. These are solid.
Look at that, there's MacArthur.
And actually, this one has what they called the suicide doors, which open from the front, which were kind of unique.
Well, this is wonderful, just wonderful that you have this. You don't see a staff car at a museum very often. So I'll pause our camera and get us back in direction. I got lost with this car. So what aisle are we heading down to next, Mr. Jack?
Well, this is another 30 caliber. This is on the tripod, of course. And this is actual bunk bed that they used in World War II in the barracks when they did their training. And it's kind of hard to see with all this stuff stacked on it. This is the mine detectors, the couple different mines. These work like a metal detector does.
Okay. So is that a Bren gun up
That's
there?
a Bren gun, yeah.
Wow.
British Bren gun. And a 60 millimeter mortar. That's an American mortar, but this is a British Bren gun.
That's amazing. And then we have another display case.
Yeah, this one has stuff from a combat medic, and he got a Bronze Star for taking care of the wounded under fire. Some other memorabilia, like fighting knives. And this is a grouping right here. This guy was on a bomber that was shot down. He spent 2 years at a POW camp. But, yeah, it's all the memorabilia he brought back from the camp with him. It has letters and all sorts of memorabilia. Now, this guy was killed in North Africa. He was with the 45th Division, the Thunderbirds.
Okay. Wow. What's this rifle here? I just walked by it.
Training rifle. See, it's a heavy-duty 22 caliber rifle, but
So this is a training
by
rifle.
Springfield, yep.
So this is what they would use at boot camp.
Yeah, yep, exactly. Yep.
Okay.
And this is what they call the Liberator, made by General Motors. They were a throwaway weapon made to they were actually dropped to the partisans behind the lines, and to give them a weapon to kill an enemy with, and then use his weapon. They gave directions, extra ammunition, and a gun and everything, went in a little box like that, and they drop them by the case behind the enemy line.
And then when they would kill the German soldier, they could grab their machine gun or whatever.
Exactly, machine gun or weapon, whatever they were using.
Well, we won't hit the pin-up playing cards.
Okay. Okay, some more uniforms, and that's the carbine, the M1 carbine, and the Springfield.
Now, the carbine, for my viewers, what's the difference between the carbine and the M1? Why would you have the two different weapons?
They're two different cartridges, actually. The M1 carbine is a smaller 30 carbine. It's much smaller than the 30-06.
So
the officer's lighter weapon,
all right, so the officers would have the lighter weapon.
Yeah, they could actually carry more ammo, than the 30-06.
Okay. Now, all right, we're back again.
Here we have a field switchboard that they plugged the field telephones in with, and the walkie-talkie radio. This is an actual code thing that they had for the front lines. It's quite complicated looking, but they'd have to change the codes every day, and they'd have these up on the front line. They'd print these codes out on a piece of tape, and they'd run it back from the front lines back to the headquarters.
Wow.
It's called the converter, which is kind of a unique piece. It works almost.
Why do we have a bicycle in here, Mr. Jack?
This is a British folding bicycle that the British used, made by BSA. So it's kind of a unique piece too.
All right. Well, it looks like you have one of those German
MP40. Yeah.
An MP40 up here.
Was brought back by a captain here. This is the captain's display here, but he had a Silver Star. He was in some pretty rugged fighting and battles. And I have his whole history too. This is all stuff from D-Day here.
The D-Day case, huh?
Yeah, D-Day case. All this stuff here they found on the beaches there. And this fellow right here with the 29th Division, he was a lieutenant at the time, but here's his medals up here.
Let me get up here a little bit.
He had
there he is.
2 Silver Stars.
2 Silver Stars, everyone. Purple Heart.
And the certificates that tells how he got those Silver Stars by risking his life, which a lot of these guys did. There's other things they found on the beaches like that. Little post there, that's something they ran the barbed wire on, but you can see bullet holes through the post.
All right. So that's a barbed wire post that they'd have in the sand at the beach.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
Oh, this is the SHAEF headquarters flag from Eisenhower's headquarters in Europe.
Wow, now that is cool.
Piece. Yeah, this was donated by a major who brought it back as a souvenir and donated it to us. It's a really neat flag, though.
So that's like the headquarters flag.
If it could only talk, probably Churchill and who knows who all was in that room, where that flag was.
Oh, looks like we have Radar O'Reilly here.
Yeah, that's what everybody said. But yeah, he's sitting at his desk reading his map there. And
so this represents what, an artilleryman or a clerk?
Yeah, like a clerk or an officer reading his map. It's field desk that the officers used. And they would unload them, and they would set up their little.
So I see you have some war trophies that people brought back.
Yeah, we have a lot of German stuff. They brought back a lot of German stuff, and we actually have some Hitler memorabilia in here. A Hitler spoon says AH on the handle. Some Hermann Göring stuff and some Eva Braun stuff.
Wow. Well, I know I've seen documentaries where the soldiers would get into some of the Hitler's things, and they were just bringing back everything they could just to say that they were in Hitler's living room or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, the one guy in the 101st Airborne I was telling you about over here, he was a colonel, and he was the one that brought most of this stuff back.
Which way we going, sir?
Oh, we can right up this way if you want. We have British and Canadian stuff here.
All right.
This is a British sniper rifle, and it's actually this is a scoped rifle, and it goes in that case up there, and this is the case that the scope goes in, and it's like a kit that the British snipers had. It's an American officer's uniform. They were really sharp-looking uniforms back at that time.
Wow.
And a lot of the pistols that the British used.
Yeah, they sure liked that Webley, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, yep, they did.
Wow.
These are models that people build, and they.
We have some
donate to
models.
us, yeah.
Boy, now what do we have up here? This looks like a Russian tank.
It is a Russian tank, and this was the Germans used this for instruction. It's got German writing on the bottom. But at the end of the war, the Volkssturm, which was the last ditch, like the young kids, Hitler Youth, and the old guys, they'd send them out on suicide missions with these Panzerfaust. There's one sitting right up there.
Oh wow, you got a Panzerfaust. That's a one-shot bazooka,
Yes,
right?
it is. That's right. They send them out against these Russian tanks, and this they used as an instruction to show them where to hit the tank, on the track, to disable it, pretty much.
Now, is this a communication center?
Yeah, a lot of communication stuff, all different radios and things like that. And pigeon carriers, actually, too. We have different types that they had of those. And they still use those in World War II in certain areas where they couldn't get the equipment in, for radios.
All right, I'm going to pause here for a moment, everyone. Well, continue on, Mr. Jack.
Okay, this is Battle of Britain, some British stuff. There's actually a Lend-Lease 22 caliber rifle that we shipped over there, made by Mossberg.
Okay.
For the British to practice with. They could use 22
And it
caliber.
looks like you have a flight jacket.
Yeah, flight jacket. And
now, is that sheep wool in there?
yes, yep. It was sheep's wool, sheepskin they called it. And they used a lot. The Americans used a lot of that kind of stuff too. High altitude.
Well, it looks like you have British Sten guns. Now, I know Michael Caine used one in the Korean War, and I saw him in an interview saying they were awfully unreliable. Is that true?
I really thought they were pretty good from what I've read about them.
He said he was using in Korean War, they had the World War II surplus ones, and they'd already seen an awful lot of service or something. He said that
maybe they were worn out.
They were a little worn out or something.
Actually, they were a lot of loose tolerance stuff. I mean, they're stamped out of sheet metal, but from what I've heard, that were like the grease gun. I mean, they were loose tolerances, but they worked pretty well.
Look really nice.
Very rarely jam because of the machine guns. They were machine parts. They would be harder to.
So it looks like you have the a case of magazines for the Bren gun.
Or the Bren gun, yes. Yep.
All right.
Exactly. This is a bicycle that they had on most of the army bases just to get from place to place when they didn't have a Jeep.
Okay. And it looks like you have some Japanese.
Yes, this is a whole display from one guy who brought the Japanese sword back and Japanese bayonet and some other things in there. This is more personal stuff in here that the soldiers carried with them. The money and the wallets, some medals.
Wow, you have everything in this museum. It is incredible. You have the cigarettes.
Yeah, a lot of cigarettes, like the old Camels and Lucky Strikes. Of course, they were non-filters back then. But everybody smoked.
Now, for my viewers, can you mention the model here, the B-29? What's so significant about that?
This is kind of an unusual variation of the 29. Most were painted just a silver aluminum color, but this one, I'm not sure exactly what the significance, why it was painted this color, but I kind of liked it. I bought it and kind of liked it.
Okay. And it looks like you have some more
Springfields, different variations, all the way up to the A4 model, which is up top. That was the sniper version.
The sniper version.
And these are bayonets, the long bayonets that they used on the M1 Garand. And a lot of these were cut down, and they made the shorter bayonets. And then the Springfield down here, you could actually interchange the Garand and the Springfield bayonets using on either gun. This was actually a training bayonet here made out of plastic.
Wow, you have everything here. I guess we're going. It looks like
this is like a field hospital.
A field hospital.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. It looks like someone's being operated on. So
it's a WASP pilot. You've heard of the WASP pilot?
Yeah.
I'm an Army service pilots because they had a big job. They had to deliver the planes from the factories out to the airfields, free up our military people. And
well, in Gloucester, Virginia, there is a historical museum there that has a whole thing on the WASP because there is some famous female pilot that lived in Gloucester, and there's an actual road sign for her. And I apologize, I forgot her name.
Yeah.
I go to so many places, they all mesh.
It's amazing because they can fly any airplane. They learn how to fly the bombers, the fighters, any airplane that they
Anything that needed to be ferried around from.
used in World War II. Yeah, they did a big job. I mean, they're kind of a forgotten.
Well, that's a real nice display, and it's nice that you have the nurses and the WASP pilots represented in your museum.
And we have a grouping here. The guy was a combat medic, and he took all these photographs when he was over there. He's got some original photos of Patton here that he'd taken with his little camera that he had, which is kind of unique. He was kind of unique also.
Was he a driver for Patton?
No. Actually, I have some stuff from Patton right here too. He was. I have a pair of his binoculars.
Wow.
And a belt that belonged to him, which was brought back by one of his aides.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Very nice. All right, I'm going to pause our camera here. So, Mr. Jack, what's the deal with all these helmets?
These are all World War II helmets from the early war right up to the end of the war. As the variations changed, it was a fixed bail to start out with, and then they changed to the swivel bail. And there's some different variations. I was able to acquire all the helmet liner. Different helmet liners. This is a paratrooper model here, you can see.
Okay.
And, the Marine versions.
And what's the little gold? What's that little
lieutenant's bar? That, a lot of them put their insignia on the front. It was towards later in the war they learned that that would be a target.
That would be a target.
So they wouldn't wear their insignia. The officers.
Now, what's this here?
This is a Japanese pilot's flight suit. It has a rabbit fur lining.
Wow. How did you get a Japanese pilot suit so far? I mean, we're in the middle of nowhere in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, there was a soldier that brought one back. He was in occupied Japan right at the end of the war, and so he brought that back with him. And we have a lot of other Japanese stuff here that was brought back.
Okay,
some of the rifles right here, different variations.
So these are Japanese weapons
yes.
here?
Yeah, we have the carbine here with the folding bayonet. This is a paratrooper model that comes apart, just kind of rare. And we have the last ditch one up here, which towards the end of the war they were running out of resources and ways to make the rifles and the stuff they eliminated off of the original ones. But,
boy, you got a Japanese pistol
handguns,
in there?
Yeah. Kind of revolver and a Japanese naval uniform.
Wow.
The Harry-Carry knife over there. See that little knife in the corner? That's what they used to commit Harry-Carry with.
Let's see, I get a close-up of that. Okay.
We have more bayonets and samurai swords over here.
All right, and then, boy, there's so much to see here, everyone.
Yeah, there's Army Air Force on this side.
So we have Army Air Force on this. So this is what the
US,
B-17 and B-29 stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we have souvenirs or stuff to.
Now, what's this big pistol for?
That's a flare pistol, flare gun that they had in the bombers. And that would lock into a thing on the top of the plane. They'd shoot a flare. Like if they were coming in, they had wounded aboard, they would shoot a red flare off to let them know that they had wounded.
Okay, so that plane would land first maybe so they can get them off.
Yep.
And of course, hanging from the ceiling, you have planes and
models, and that's an oxygen tank out of a bomber. Of course, this guy's flying a desk because he must have been grounded, I guess. I don't know.
Very nice. Yeah. And here we have some pilots in there.
Pilot and a crew member with the flak jacket
and the helmet. I've seen that in the documentaries. And who is it? Gone with the Wind. Clark Gable.
Clark Gable. Exactly. He flew in the bombers. Yeah.
What are these big rabbit ear things?
These are things the artillery, Japanese artillery. I have some different variations of those, but they were like a periscope type thing that they could look out and watch the artillery, where they were hitting and everything.
You have some really rare and unique items in your museum. So, is this the Japanese infantry display
Japanese
case?
Infantry. Yep. Has their helmet there and the Arisaka rifle. This is like a summer uniform that they use. They actually has a pair of skis that came from up in Alaska when the Japanese invaded Alaska.
Right.
For a short period.
get in here. Wow. And why was the Japanese bayonet so long?
I don't know, because the rifles, with that bayonet, it was like twice as high as the soldiers were.
You see them in the movies,
Yeah,
and the bayonets look like they're 2 feet.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know why they were. But,
And you have some beautiful artwork.
yeah, well,
And,
thank you. That's
and
E17.
I'm going to the ceiling, everyone. There are things everywhere.
Pillow
and
covers from
these
the
are
different camps that they served.
amazing. All right. Well,
This guy was a mechanic. Yeah, mechanic, and had a lot
so
of
he's got the
tools.
welding goggles
Yep.
on.
Mhm. Yep.
All right.
Now, this is all German stuff there. This is the People's Radio. Of course, they gave the German people their own radio, and they only wanted them to hear certain propaganda.
Okay. So it'd only
Yeah.
be able to pick up the German.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it looks like this is
Yeah, another American pilot.
a bomber pilot.
Another bomber
So-
pilot.
So here we have a German display case.
These are some of the pistols that they had. The P-38s, they called them. The Walther. This is a G-43 here.
All right.
Sniper rifle. And this is a camouflage that the SS used. It's like a reversible camouflage. This is a fall pattern. This is the MG-42. Hitler's buzzsaw, his nickname, but 1,200 rounds a minute. That was twice as fast as anything that we had. And that's what our guys faced coming off those landing craft on D-Day.
Okay.
And it's the paratrooper's helmet, which is quite rare also.
And then we have a German flight uniform here.
Flight suit, yep. This is all Luftwaffe, which is the German Air Force. And these daggers that you see were used for ceremonies. They didn't take them into combat. Some of their handguns that they used, some helmets.
Wow.
Some original uniform from a pilot.
And wow. I mean,
Has the guy's name in it. I'm trying to do some research. This is the MG-34. And this is now an infantry soldier.
now an MG-34, this is their main belt-fed machine gun, is that correct?
Yep, belt fed 8mm. This is actual original ammunition for these things too. The little signs there that you see with the meters on, these were inside the bunkers, and they'd have these all around the bunker, and they'd have like landmarks in front of the bunker. They came from Normandy, so they could just look at a certain
So, and they would know how far to sight.
set up their guns. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to pause here and restart again. Well, I had to take a moment break. There is just so much to see here. A couple things. What's this big stick thing coming out of his belt?
That's their hand grenade. It was nicknamed the potato masher.
Well, very cool. And last week we were at a place and they had a miniature one for sale, goober size.
Oh, no kidding.
And then he was trying to mash potatoes with it. Little humor, everybody. What's this German soldier setup
he's
as?
a paratrooper, a German paratrooper, and he's got an Italian machine gun,
Okay.
which they preferred a lot of the Italian machine gun. Of course, all the countries they occupied, they used their weapons as well.
All right. Wow. Amazing.
Yeah, right. Here's the famous Luger here.
Oh, let me
This is
swoop
the
over.
one- this is the one everybody wanted as a souvenir.
The German Luger.
Yeah.
Yeah, my uncle Richard, he brought back one with the drum magazine.
yeah, wow.
I don't know how he got so much stuff back.
No kidding. Yeah,
From
it's amazing.
yeah,
They did bring a lot of memorabilia.
he brought helmets back. He was shipping it back or something. I
Because
don't.
of course, if you're a 19-year-old kid, the Germans had really well-made stuff. I mean, their daggers were so unique, and I mean, you would bring stuff back.
So is this a U-boat commander
U-boat
here?
commander's uniform. Yeah, it's a two-piece leather outfit.
All right, let me swing over this way a little bit. So this uniform was what, leather, so the water
Yes.
would bounce off of it?
Yeah, I guess that's why they were made out of leather. And cold, like for wind, if they were out in the cold. And this is actually a light that came out of a German U-boat.
Wow.
My son found that. He has an antique shop in Halifax, Nova Scotia, but he actually found that up there. There was a submarine, a U-boat surrendered up there at the end of the war, and they scuttled it. And before they scuttled it, this guy took all the lights out of it, and then he brought him into my son's my son's shop and sold them to him. And he got all the information off the U-boat and everything that they came from.
Wow.
This is a Hitler Youth uniform here.
Okay.
And this is a .22 caliber rifle that the Hitler Youth used.
Now, my wife was here before, and the next display case, she thought I really need to have you do a good talk about, because my wife is Jewish, and she had relatives in Germany that perished. So I'm going to pause the camera, and we're going to have you do the special talk on the next display case.
Okay.
Well, Mr. Jack, one of the atrocities of World War II, can you talk to us about your display here?
Sure. This was brought back by a soldier who helped liberate this camp. It was Dachau concentration camp. And he brought the uniform and the eagle, the big eagle here that came from the boxcar of a train that was there. And there's actually a whip down there that was used, and a flag that came from there.
Horrible. Just horrible.
It was terrible, but and then the pictures is what it's hard to imagine, you know, how they stack the bodies up as like cordwood. There's actually people denying this ever happened. Isn't that amazing?
Well, my wife wanted me to make sure, because she lost relatives in Germany during this, and you know, you have to show this so it never happens again.
This is stuff from the SS, which is Hitler's henchmen. They were the ones that ran the camps, and they were ruthless, very ruthless soldiers. I mean, they were. It's just hard to believe, you know, the people.
In the Yellow Star, so that
Star of David. It's called the Star.
So
of
that
David.
it's just terrible. Well,
they had to wear that, you know, as an identification thing.
Well, it's good that we have these displays like this to remind people
exactly.
of the evil that we had to. Took a lot of people to stop that evil.
Sure did.
All right. Which way we heading to next, Mr. Jack?
Let's see. I guess we're pretty much finished in here. Head out if you want.
All right. We're going to head to another room, everyone. Well, we continue our endless tour of the Endless Mountain War Memorial Museum. Jack, what do we have next?
This is stuff from the Pacific here. This is the kind of material. It was like an herringbone twill, HBT. They called it. It was like a cotton uniform, and it would breathe.
What's that big round thing on this machine gun?
That's a drum magazine. That would carry 50 rounds of ammunition, but a lot of them mostly used the stick magazine because it was so heavy. You know, the Thompson itself is heavy, but the drum, you know, with that much ammo, you know, would be a lot heavier. But I know a guy that was on a PT boat, and he said they had them like this on the PT boat.
On the PT boat.
Yep.
All right. Well, what are those things? Are those shrunken heads?
No, they're coconuts, actually. The guys would, you know, make them up as souvenirs, and they'd send them home.
Wow. And, I hit some pinups, everyone.
Varga girls up there.
Yeah, we have pinups quite a bit throughout the museum.
Pretty famous. They painted them on their airplanes back during World War II, and they were part of the war, you know.
It's
samurai swords.
Well, you got a whole display case of them.
There's some propaganda thing that they had there, hanging on Tojo's nose. Some Japanese stuff down here that was brought back. There's actually a little sword here, and this is a sword that was handed down from generation to generation.
Okay.
A little fancy one, and it came in that. It was shipped home in that display, or that shipping container back there with a piece of bamboo. See how big the bamboo was?
Yeah.
Has the guy's address right on it.
And then we have a display case over here with.
This is another Army Air Corps display here with a radio out of a bomber, and this guy was killed in the ball turret. He was in the ball turret, which was a tough place to get out of.
Yeah.
And everybody else parachuted out, but he wasn't able to get out, unfortunately.
And what do we have here?
This is a naval uniform, a Navy captain. And he went in when he was 15 years old. It said he was 15 years old. And he lied his age, I guess.
James H. Holmes.
But, he got a lot of ribbons there.
Yeah, they call that, what, the fruit salad or something?
Yeah, I guess, yeah. Yeah, this is stuff from the Pacific, American stuff. This is an M1 carbine the guy that was carrying that was killed on the beach during the invasion of Okinawa, and his buddy picked the bayonet, or picked the gun up, and he carved his initials and the date he was killed into the stalk.
All right, let me see if I can get that.
He sent it home as a memorial to him, and then he came and donated it to the museum.
Wow. Why do you have this big bomb? Well, this is cool.
This actually came to the museum one Sunday morning. A guy was carrying it down my sidewalk over his shoulder, and he set it down and he says, "Here, can you use that?" I said, "Sure, we'll make a plot for it, but it makes a nice display with our display."
Very nice. I'm going to hit it from the other side.
It would have been the size of a 500-pound bomb.
Now it looks like you have some winter stuff here.
Yes, I do, from the 10th Mountain Division.
All right, I'm going to restart our video. Hold on, because this looks really neat. So what's the 10th Mountain Division?
10th Mountain Division, they trained in Colorado during World War II, but they trained for mountain warfare, you know, and everything was white camouflage to go with the snow. And I even have a tent up there, which I'll, in our new building that we're just building, I'll be putting that tent up and expanding this display so you can see it a little better. But it's kind of crammed in this corner here right now. They had the snowshoes and the skis, and it was a whole different scenario.
Okay. And what kind of machine gun is this, Mr. Jack?
That's called the grease gun. The tankers like those. That actually replaced the Thompson because it was much easier to manufacture with a lot of stamp parts.
It looks lighter.
It's still quite heavy, but it is lighter than the Thompson. Yeah, but it's all stamped parts. A lot of them.
Okay. Well, it looks like we have a sign for Korea here.
Yes, yeah, right around the corner we have a Korean War display.
Okay. Now, what are all these belts here?
Oh, these are all ammunition belts for the Garand or the Springfield, and musette bags, first aid kits. This is a BAR belt for the BAR magazine.
Wow, that is neat. For the Browning automatic rifle that we learned about earlier. Mm-hmm. That must have weighed a lot, because it looks like it holds quite a few of those magazines.
Yeah, he would have to be a pretty big guy probably to carry that and all that ammunition, you know, to feed it. And these are different canteens, different variations. This is made out of porcelain. This is a plastic one, but these were very rare because they weren't in use very.
Now, what are these little bottles you got sitting by the canteens?
Yeah, these are purification tablets. Like they'd have to put them into their water when they get it out of a stream, because just in case they didn't want to be.
Okay, we're gonna pause here.
This is propaganda. I don't know.
So this is propaganda.
Yeah, some different variations there that they had. The game, another like the Hang the Bomb on Tojo's. These are magazines with Hitler depiction and a Tojo.
All right. I even know that they were making cartoons where Daffy Duck and everybody was fighting Tojo and Hitler.
Yeah. And Hitler, they'd have images of Hitler made like a skunk, you know. I don't know. You'd see those. But they had some pretty neat stuff, neat propaganda.
Now, is this a camp stove here?
Yes, it is. And then they use these out in the field also.
Because in the movie Audie Murphy, there is a soldier from Poland who has a camp stove, and he's using it throughout the movie.
Yeah.
All
actually,
right
behind you, this guy actually served with Audie Murphy in the same outfit.
Really?
Yep. He was from Millville. He just passed away less than a year ago.
And that's right here.
Yeah, right out in Millville, just a few miles from here. But,
okay, and he served with Audie Murphy.
With Audie Murphy. He's seen him actually do everything he did in the movie. You know.
And what was his name, sir?
Bob Long.
Bob Long, everyone, if you want to maybe look him up. And he's a local resident here of this area of central, I guess we're central Pennsylvania, right?
Yep, north central.
Okay, where are we heading to next?
Yeah, you can come around to the Korean War.
All right, I'm going to restart us for the Korean War. Well, we are in the Korean War area now, and it is jam-packed. Take it away, Jack.
Yeah, this is all stuff from Korea. Helmets, and we have hats here from Air Force guys. A flight helmet up there. This guy here, this is a certificate. He got a Distinguished Service Cross right here. Down here we have a gun port panel from an F-86, the Saberjet.
The Saberjet.
In Korea. This is where the 50 calibers were up in the nose of the aircraft. That must have had a shark's mouth painted on the front, and it had a yellow.
Okay,
Yellow
and there's the
stripe.
Saberjet
Yeah,
there.
there's a picture or the model of the Saberjet. So we'll be expanding this one up in the new wing too. The
And
Korean
you
wing.
have a PT boat in here.
Yeah, PT boat. Yeah, actually, our last guy that can come to the museum and speak was served on a PT boat. He was just here on Sunday.
Really?
Give him
How
a
old
call.
was he?
He's 97. now.
97.
Yeah, 97. Charlie Brooking is his name.
Well, this is a goober size PT boat.
This was his position on the ship. He was one of the gunners in the mount up here. But
Okay, let me get a picture.
Twin 50 caliber guns.
And he'd be up in that turret.
Yeah.
All right.
This is stuff from the Boy Scouts. Of course, they went out on the scrap drives and did a lot. These are toys that the kids had back then. But everybody pulled together in World War II, and everybody had a job to do, and the kids would go out and collect scrap metal.
Yeah, they had ration the gasoline, right?
Yep, exactly. And the Victory Gardens, the backyard garden. This is Rosie the Riveter here. And here it has some pictures of the Rosie the Riveters.
All
They
right.
do jobs that you wouldn't think a woman would do, but they really pulled together, and they did a big job here at home on the home front.
Wow, you have such a good representation.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is a wave over here, which
Okay.
is the Navy version of the WAC. Of course, they weren't in combat back then. They had jobs like secretaries and
All right.
staff car drivers, things like that. And we have George Washington down there.
All right.
And we had the Victrola. And some of the games that the kids would play back then with the Lincoln Logs and scrapbooks.
And then you have you have a child's BAR that someone made for him.
Yeah, actually, this came from a Korean War veteran who carved this all out of wood for his son. And even has a magazine that comes out, which is kind of neat.
Wow, it looks like a real BAR.
Yeah, I'd have died for something like that when I was a kid. We used to use sticks.
Wow, and you have old toy soldiers.
Yeah, the old lead soldiers and
Very nice.
yeah, this is kind of a unique little toy that I show the kids when they come in.
Wow. Now I see something I want to try to get a close up of, so I'm going to. It's on the floor. I'm going to zip down here because I have the Wargaming channel, and these are really old, all metal, half track and Daimler armored car. Pretty cool. All right, I'm going to pause our camera here and let Jack get in front of me again. Okay, we're back, everybody.
That was some of the old radios that they had and the old TVs. This is a little after World War II, but as we progress up to the Cold War, the old dial-up telephones and the old TV guides. I'm sure a lot of people remember those. Comic books were big back in that time.
And Combat has come up again, a board game, and I'm huge on the board games and stuff. That's neat that you have Combat.
And this is the Cold War here, which is back in the 50s, early 60s, when everybody was doing a duck and cover under the desks and putting up the bomb shelters and with all the civil defense stuff. And
Yeah, I'm 60, and I remember going under the desk, but in
Yeah.
all reality, I don't think it really would have helped, would it?
No, I don't think so. And the Geiger counters they had in the schools, and they did all the drills, and there's Russian stuff under here too from that era. This is a Russian sniper rifle.
Wow. Enemy at the Gates. That movie is
exactly,
interesting.
yeah. Of course,
Okay.
the Navy crying towel here. The Navy guys always got a kick out of that.
All right.
Kind of unique.
Well, it's an incredible amount of stuff you have in each of these sections. So what do we have here, Jack?
Yeah, this guy was a pilot back in late 50s, early 60s, but he flew in off the carriers. He landed on the aircraft carriers, but he actually knew Chuck Yeager here. He was a friend of his. I have a picture of him and Chuck in there.
Wow.
This is his flight helmet, his flight jacket, and his 2 dress uniforms.
Amazing. And you have, what kind of flag is on the ceiling there?
That's a Korean Korean flag from the Korean War.
Is that North or South Korean?
North Korea.
Okay, so that's the enemy.
That's the enemy flag.
All right, and I'm being careful where I walk. There's awesome things everywhere here.
There's more stuff from the home front in here, the ration books and the stuff from the air warning service. Of course, kids would go out and spot planes and things like that. The license plates, the metal license plate from 42, and then the 43 they had the little metal thing that went up in the corner.
Okay.
And this is Vietnam here.
All right, and I have a lot of people that watch my channel are in Vietnam. Jack Brendel of Tucson, Arizona.
Yeah, wow.
He was in, I think, the 9th Cavalry
the
unit. So
wow.
tell me about your Vietnam sections.
Yeah, okay, this guy carried a flamethrower in Vietnam, and he had 2 Bronze Stars, and I have a lot of memorabilia from him. His Purple Heart, he got a Purple Heart as well.
And what's the significance of the playing card and the helmet?
That's what they call the death card. A lot of the units had those, and they'd leave them if they'd kill a VC. They'd lay that beside the body over there.
Okay.
Just, like a thing that they used to do. And this is the 50 caliber machine gun.
So we have a 50 caliber, everyone. Gosh, it looks so much bigger than it does on TV. I'm gonna get down here a little bit, everyone. Look at the size of those bullets.
Of course, that's the bazooka back there that was used in Vietnam, the 3.5. And this is a helicopter pilot here. He was from Muncie.
Really?
Bob Keese was his name.
And Muncie's like 10 miles down the road.
Yeah, exactly. And he was actually a glider pilot in World War II, but then he went to Vietnam and he flew helicopters. And he helped fly a lot of the wounded out of the Ai Drang Valley. I don't know if you know anything about that battle, but We Were Soldiers, if you ever watched that movie, that covers that. But it's amazing, some of the stories he told me, about what he did.
And that's his picture there.
Yep,
I'm going to get close up there.
That's him up there as well.
A local fella right here in the area. You have a lot of local people that their stuff is here.
Yep, exactly. Over the last 25 years, we just had our 25th anniversary here on Sunday, so
wow.
Here a while. And this is the only guy from Sullivan County that was killed in Vietnam. We represent him every year during our Vietnam Veterans Tribute. We have one here every 4th of July weekend.
4th of July, right here at this site?
Right here at the museum.
Right here at the museum, everyone.
People that come and talk. Some Vietnam veterans come and talk, and we have a whole day we spend together. Hear a lot of stories.
Now, are these the Vietnam bulletproof vest type thing?
Yes, there's 2 of them here. These are for fixed positions. Here they have plates in, what they call chicken plates.
Okay.
And they're very heavy, but you wouldn't want to walk around too much with them. They're for fixed position like truck drivers, helicopter pilots, things like that.
Okay, I'm going to pause our camera for a moment. All right, we're back, everyone.
And this is the M14, which a lot of the Marines and things carry, and they like the M14 a lot better than the M16. Because
now, what's the difference between the two, sir?
The M14 was a 308 caliber, larger caliber, and it would have more firepower, But the M16, you could carry more ammo, because I had the smaller cartridges. But I think that's why they.
Let me get a close up of the M16. Now, my friend Jack, I have 2 Jacks that both were in Vietnam. They said their M16s jammed terrible in the beginning.
Yes, they were. They were having problems with them, keeping them clean and everything, and until they got them fixed, it was quite a problem, But this is a Green Beret that used to ride with me. I have his picture right back here. But Leonard Krakowski, he used to ride with me in Memorial Day parades and stuff. He's been gone about 8 years now, I think.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, and this guy over here, he was an airborne ranger.
This one here.
Yeah, this is his original tiger stripe uniform that he wore when he was over there. Now, he was over there in the mid-60s, around 65, 66.
Okay, and
he was an advisor.
What are these? Are these
smoke grenades?
Smoke grenades.
They use a lot of them, to signal like the helicopters and stuff. Different color smoke.
And can you tell my viewers why is this uniform tiger striped?
It was their own special, the special forces, and they used
that special camouflage.
Yeah, special camouflage, for the jungle, and they're pretty famous. The Green Berets wore a lot of that stuff too.
And this looks like
this is all a grouping. These 2 cases are stuff that he brought back, and That's an SKS with bullet holes through the stock there.
So is that a North Vietnamese weapon?
Yep. Yes, it is. Yeah.
And what's this here?
That's the M60.
Okay.
That was the machine gun they were actually used on helicopters and ground. They, each platoon, I think, carried one of these. There's a guy carrying one of these.
So this replaced like the BAR in World War II.
Yeah, the BAR, exactly. Yeah.
And I have to hit the Marines because I have the fella in Cumberland, Maryland, who, what's he always tell me? Once a Marine, always a Marine.
This is a brother actually to Leonard. This was his brother. He lived in California, and he sent this uniform. But look at the ribbons he's got. He was in 3 wars, just like Leonard was. He was World War II, Korea, and Vietnam.
Wow.
Leonard finished up as a Green Beret in Vietnam, but yeah, he was in the thick of it. He was wounded in World War II on Iwo Jima, so he was in some quite a career of wars.
We have uniforms.
Yeah, this is the rest of this guy's display here.
Another
name.
M16.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and here's a picture of him. Him and his wife with a baby, holding the baby there in Vietnam. This is the baby's uniform from Desert Storm.
All right.
So another father and son's.
Father
uniform.
and son. So we have, and then we go to Desert Storm. That is amazing. And
he was also an officer. He was a lieutenant. And, he was in on the when they took Saddam's sons out that were in a bunker.
Okay.
They wouldn't surrender, so they wiped the bunker out. And that was the end of them.
Well, I know that we have a bit of French Indian War and Civil War stuff up here.
Civil War, Revolutionary War, some odds and ends here. I could never afford this stuff when I was collecting usually, but I did get a few things.
Okay.
Some cannonballs from the Revolutionary War. And this is a Marine sword, actually, USMC a sword from the Civil War. A Colt and the
Boy, that's the big artillery sword, I think, there.
Yeah, that is the artillery sword, yeah.
Oh. It is. And then we're done here with this. We have another hero, Liberation of Kuwait.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
It's amazing. Amazing. So what's this in this display case?
There's a little bit from Iraq and Afghanistan here. This hat right here, a sniper shot at an enemy about 1,000 yards away, and when he got up there, all the way there was this hat. But look at the top of the hat; that was a pretty close call.
Yeah, no, amazing. There is so much to see here, everyone. It's an all-day. You could spend a couple hours here. Well, we're still walking around the museum, and I haven't seen Goober at all. I don't know. Oh, my gosh. Goober's in the PT boat. Well, I hope Jack doesn't mind that the problem with this PT boat is there's no water for Goober to go cruising around in. Laugh, everyone. Life is short, and follow Goober's adventures. So, Mr. Jack, where are we going now?
Well, this is a future new wing of the Endless Mountains War Memorial Museum. I can't wait to get it done here.
Can you show me around what you guys are working on?
I will, yeah. Come on in. Yeah, this is it right here. It's
Holy cow.
a big space. So, well, you can see why I needed it. I was so packed in the other part.
Well, your other museum is like filled to the max. So what will you have in this incredible room?
We'll be moving some of that stuff, of course, up here, including the car that we have down there, the staff car. And I have a couple Jeeps and a weapons carrier in some of my other buildings here. So we'll be moving them in, but we'll have a lot of things we can hang up, a lot of stuff, and because I had the high ceilings, because you never have enough wall space.
Okay.
This is my insulation that's setting over here. That would all be putting in this winter, and now I'm putting in all my junction boxes now that go around.
So do you have a team that's helping you?
I'm doing it pretty much myself when I can, but I do have people that come out and help me every now and then.
All right. Well, and it's nice to see you have the American flag here, even in this part of the museum too.
We just had our event up here over Sunday, and we had 3 veterans up here, 2 Vietnam veterans and our World War II vet speaking, and this is where we did it. We're showing some slides and.
Very nice. Well, thank you for bringing me here. It's when do you expect to have this wing done? Next year?
I'm hoping over the next late spring, maybe early summer.
Okay, so
If we can get our heating system and all our stuff done in here, so that's the main thing.
a lot of room. I guess we need a lot more donations too.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
All right. Mr. Jack, there's not too many people that have a cannon in their yard. Can you tell me about this?
Yes, this is the M3 105 howitzer. This was scaled down to 2,500 pounds, so they were able to get it on the gliders. It's an actual airborne piece, but there were only 2,500 of this type ever made. So we're very fortunate to have one. And it was actually rescued by a guy from a salvage yard back in the 50s. And he came to the museum one time and he says, I have just what you need sitting in my yard.
Well, it is a really neat piece to have sitting here in the yard. And I guess thank you for everything. This has been a wonderful tour.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you.
So, Mr. Jack, how does someone first find your secret museum, and then when are you open?
You can find us on the internet if you bring up Endless Mountains War Memorial Museum, and we're open pretty much 7 days a week on appointment. But in the summertime, it's usually weekends. But if we're available, I give tours at any time. So just give us a call or an email.
All right, and I'm going to have the information at the end of this video. And I got to say thank you for your hospitality. And Goober and I just really love this museum. My wife loved it when we were here a few years ago. And everyone, please stay safe, be kind, be courteous, and visit a historic site near you. Thank you. Well, I guess that's it. Goober says you have to come to the Endless Mountain Museum War Memorial. And it's 2 paws approved by Goober the Traveling Bear. And Mr. Jack's going to get a calendar sent to him.